Hey Riders! My name is SimpleStar and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the game Riders of Icarus. Today I have another taming guide which was requested actually and from multiple people. Multiple people wanted to know how to tame the mount that I am going to talk about today. And that mount is Finian. Finnian is a heroic flying mount from Stygaea. So let's take a look at his bestiary page. He looks absolutely awesome. He's like a feathered dragon. So the bestiary is always a good clue on how to tame certain elite, heroic and legendary mounts. So let's see what this bestiary page says about Finnian. Though one of the more powerful monarchs, a rare text uncovered in Stygaea suggests that Finnian has a weakness hidden in the modest Slayer gear. A brave hero with the right equipment and mark may be able to break the will of the King of Oblivion. Right, so these are clues on how to tame him. And it says you will need a mark and modest Slayer gear. Now, as always, the bestiary is being very vague, but I know exactly what you need and how to get it. And I have those materials right here in my inventory. As the bestiary said, you will need Finnian marks. However, aside from those marks, you will also need an armor set. That modest Slayer gear, that's this armor set right here. And of course, it is different for each class. But you just need the armor set, not the jewelry or the weapons. So that is great. So let's take a look at the easy part first, the mark. Let me open my crafting and look up this recipe because the mark is ridiculously easy to make. It requires stage 2 crafting, I believe. Yes, here he is. So what you will need for the mark is some complex familiar orbs and high taming elixirs. Very few of them, so it should be no problem obtaining those. You will also need a couple of sealed elites from the area. You will need Valor, Gurion and Kunos, and all of those can be found in the Black Pit. Now the materials are very easy to obtain actually. And you will obtain them as you are working towards the gear. Which we should talk about right now. Because this gear is a bit complex in the sense that you cannot craft it. If I go to the recipe merchant here in Freeman Village, he sells level 45
Take a look around.
Recipes. Here we go, he sells modest Slayer recipes. Now as you see at the top of the shopping list, it says you need Karnin's Bound Spirit and you need one for each of the pieces. However, this material doesn't really exist in this version of the game. It exists on the private servers, quote unquote private, that is Divine Icarus and Project Icarus. You can craft it on there. There are recipes, you can gather the materials, and you can therefore craft this armor set. But on Riders of Icarus, you can actually only obtain one through one particular side quest in Stygaea. So that is no help at all. So crafting this armor set, you can scratch that off your list immediately. It's not going to work.
Buy a lot, or you'll regret it later.
Now, let's move over to this guy.
I'm
the
in
PvP
trouble.
Enigma Chest Merchant. He sells level 45 Stygaea boxes for your own class, of course. Now, this box will cost you 180 Stygaea coins, and I have a lot of them. Now, let's buy a couple of these boxes and see what they drop. Let's go for 5
Good luck.
now. Here we go, it drops modest Slayer gear. Now this is a necklace, which is useless, we only need armor. So let's open another one, a ring, again, useless. Another ring, okay. A crossbow. No luck. You see, the drops from this are completely random. You can get 4 jewelry pieces in a row, like we just did, and never see a piece of armor. Or you can get extremely lucky and get 5 pieces of armor in a row. So, seeing as these are
I'm in
useless,
trouble.
we can talk to the merchant again and sell them. However, keep this in mind because you are going to need this. We are going to combine this with another thing
Good
that will
luck.
help us obtain the armor. And for that, we are going to have to hop over to the transit shrine and go to Grimvale. Right. Oh, hello. Lovely! Okay, this person seems to be AFK, so we should be good to go. Now we are going towards the Dread Citadel. And why we're going there, I will show you once we are there. Alright, here we are. Right, the Dread Citadel. Once we go inside, beginning with these two cursed guards, the mobs aren't very strong and they are level 55-54. What we are going to do here is just farm the crap out of all these mobs. And I prefer to head more to the back, because first of all, that lowers your chance of being killed by other players. People usually don't really wander to the back of the Dread Citadel, they'll usually stick more to the front or go up this platform to kill Orun. But we are going to go back here and we should be perfectly safe. Now, the reason you want to farm these mobs is because they drop a lot of materials that you will need. They drop, to begin with, the elite marks that you will need in order to craft the mark. Gurion, Kunos, basically every mark for every elite in Stygaea and Heart of Stygaea can drop from these mobs, which is great because we are going to need those. Aside from that, they also drop boxes of 10 complex familiar orbs or 10 high taming elixirs, which we will also need to craft the mark. But the greatest catch of them all is that they actually have a chance of dropping a random piece of complete Modest Slayer armor. Now this of course includes all classes. It includes Guardians, Berserkers, Wizards. So the chances of getting an armor piece that you can use from them is low. However, they are also an excellent source for farming these Stygaea coins. So what I highly recommend, and what I by far think is the easiest and quickest way to obtain this armor, and really the only way, since you can't craft it, is to farm the crap out of these mobs. You might get lucky and get a couple of armor pieces that you can actually use, and if you don't, you can use the large amount of Stygaea coins that you get from them to buy boxes back at Freeman Village, and have a higher chance of that dropping something that you can use. Now, if you are, say, with a friend, if a friend is helping you out, you must keep in mind that this armor is bound on obtain. You need to be the one to loot it, because once it's looted, it is not tradable at all. Even if you haven't put it on, if it's in your inventory, you can no longer trade it. Now, obtaining this armor set might take a little while, however, once you have it, you can use it for endless taming attempts, just like the armor set for example, Nightmare or Profane Apocalypse in the Exile Badlands. This armor doesn't disappear. It will stay in your inventory until you destroy it or sell it. The marks, however, work like regular marks. They get consumed on a taming attempt. So make sure you bring multiple of them if you want to go and tame Finion. Now, especially if you are around my level, taming Finion should not be that difficult. However, he is still a heroic familiar and he can still be very unpredictable and throw you off. So make sure that you have multiple marks with you when you go for the tame. There are 3 more things that you need to keep in mind when taming Finion. First of all, Finion can spawn untamable. Level 51 Finion is untamable and level 52 Finion is tameable, so keep an eye on that. Now, there is only one Finion up at the same time and he has a respawn time of 6 hours. So you need to kill an untamable Finion if you want to give the tameable Finion a chance to spawn. Spawn chances are around 50-50. You either have a 50% chance of tameable or 50% chance of an untamable Finion. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that Finion, when tameable, is really quite strong. First of all, he does a crazy amount of damage and he also has quite a nice amount of health. So the easiest way would be to kite him. And for that you will need a very fast flying familiar. Now familiars like, for example, Trace and Tigris, even though they are quite old, they are very fast, so they will be perfect for kiting Finian. And then the last thing, you need to keep in mind that you are in a PvP zone. This is a cross-server PvP zone, meaning that any people from other servers are hostile towards you. They can attack you, you can attack them, and there might be some competition for you. So you really have to keep that in the back of your mind, and for example bring a couple of friends who can help you lower his health and keep you safe while you tame. Because once you put on the armor, your defense is of course going to decrease. As you can see, if I compare this to my current armor, which is tempered Taming gear, it is not great. So your health and your defense will be significantly lower. So having a friend to help you out will definitely give you an extra advantage. So Finian flies around the entire Black Pit, clockwise, at an altitude of 900 meters. Now he roams quite a large area, so it might take you a while to find him, and especially since there might be some competition, it will be a very good idea to set your recall stone at this transit shrine, at the transit shrine at Midnight Lighthouse. This will allow you to quickly get here if you see that Finian spots. So I think that is all you should know in order to tame Finian. So now that we have the gear and the marks, let's head into the tame. Alright, Finnian. Very cool looking, in my opinion. He is today still one of my most favorite mounts. Yeah, he knows it. Look at him being all fancy. Well, I want to thank you very much for watching. If this video has been helpful or enjoyable, don't forget to like it if you want to, but no pressure of course. If you enjoy my content, you can always consider subscribing, and I will hopefully see you again next time. Until then, riders!